Hey everyone, my name is Rose Haslam, and today I'll be interviewing Amory Sheridan. Hi Amory, would you like to start with a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Rose, for asking me to do this. My name is Anne Marie Sheridan, and I um, graduated from Bentley College up in Massachusetts at the Small Business School, and I graduated about 20 years ago. Kind of crazy to me now. Um, since then, I had a number of jobs coming out of college and made my way to eventually own my own business. I owned a fitness studio, a personal training specialized one-on-one studio for about 10 years. And I sold that now almost 6 years ago. So I have transitioned into a more corporate office position.
Yeah, that's really cool. Bentley is actually one of the colleges I was considering going when I was looking into college. How do you think that Bentley helped prepare you for your career?
Um, well, I was definitely interested in business. I always have been my whole life. And as a young kid, my father was somewhat of an entrepreneur. He owned a small business, a small variety store. And, I was always like wanting to do lemonade stands or start a little business as a kid. And I kind of had in the back of my head that one day I would own my own business. Um, so I was drawn to, I've always kind of been business minded, oriented. A lot of other people in my family or women went into nursing, and I knew that that wasn't exactly for me. But I also was athletic and played sports. And Bentley had a very strong Division 2 field hockey team, which attracted me to play there. A close cousin of mine, so family has kept me in the Boston area. A close cousin of mine ended up being my field hockey coach. And so I got a really good combination of a business degree and learned a lot of life skills and that prepared me even on the athletic field. But I think even all my classes I found were valuable because I had friends who went to liberal arts school, they got a history degree or an art degree, and you graduate almost like, oh, now what do I do? So I did feel more prepared. We were technology savvy back in the day. We had all had laptops before they were like common that you had to have. I'm totally dating myself now. But there was like a small um like trading room at our school. It's still pretty reputable for a business school, but I just found even taking the accounting classes I did, I just had the confidence. Owning my own business, I had to delegate work out anyway, or I hire an accountant and hire someone to help me. I kept my own books, but I at least had the overall background of, even if you're just learning debits and credits, like a little more confidence, I think, knowing the business lingo and having experience of internships and real world business experience.
Yeah, you learned some really great skills while majoring in business. So, what really pushed you to start your own business as personal fitness?
Um, it's actually kind of an interesting story because I always had that in my heart that, and maybe I opened it or I bought it. It was an existing business when I was 27 years old. Looking back now, like still really green to owning a business. And um, I had always been into health and fitness, so I had that experience. And I thought one day when I'm older, thinking like older was 40 years old, and now I'm there today. But it almost presented itself to me. I just pursued things I was interested in. So I was working at a 9 to 5 so that I could go back to graduate school for exercise physiology. I started personal training on the side part time. I started to do my own boot camps in my hometown and had friends join them and just got hands-on experience. And people started to know me as someone in the industry. And one day at the company I worked at, which was at the time a commercial real estate company, my boss, he knew of someone who was looking to sell a fitness studio. And he said, I know you're in that world. Do you know anyone interested? And it was this like moment that I had a chance to like say, like a life-changing moment of like raise my hand and say me. And that got the wheels rolling, and I got a small business loan, and 6 months later went from working administration at a commercial real estate firm in an office to, you know, jumping into the fire with owning a business.
Yeah. What would you say was the greatest reward and the biggest challenge of owning your own business?
That's a really good question. Thank you. The greatest reward, and it's always so good to reflect too. I would have to say the relationships I built. Um, I trained people personally. Um, it definitely is the relationships. I think in business, and always being aware of my reputation um, in the community. I mean, I was in a small affluent town, and really just providing the best service possible. But I worked with some people 2 or 3 times a week for 10 years, and then some. After I sold the business, I continued to do some personal training, so I maintained those relationships. And then I had employees, personal trainers, who also were with me for 8 years, 9 years. And I still maintain those relationships, and they've only served me well. I can reach back to any former client, former employee, any transition. I just know one of the big life lessons is always like leaving on really good terms and maintaining those relationships. And my biggest weakness, or was it weakness or challenge?
The biggest obstacle of owning your own business.
Owning a own business. I learned a lot of lessons while I was there, and I would say, doing it on my own, there were times I wish I had a business partner. I've heard that can be equally as challenging, having a partnership. It was a lot of work. I was always working. Like, it doesn't leave your mind. You don't go on vacation. It's like having something you need to keep alive. You have to check in on. So eventually, when I came to decide to sell the business and move on to the next chapter, I was ready to let go of that. There's stress. I mean, there's stress in any job, but there's an added layer of making sure there's enough always marketing, always making sure the trainers have clients, and working just a lot.
Yeah, that's hard for one person. That's amazing that even after you sold the business, you're able to still maintain those relationships even now. So what made you transition and want to sell your business and move you're currently at Winrose Advisors, correct?
Yes. Eventually it became clear I wanted a break from the hustle of, I guess it's a sales position. I wanted to be able to turn it off and even have like benefits of paid vacation time, a nice structure. At first I did not want any structure, but now I thrive off of I like having a lunch break and start my day at 8:30, and at the end of the day, I still, I think it's hard for anyone these days to unplug. I'm still available, so I support. I'm at a wealth management firm, and I support the two owners. So I really believe my experience of having been a business owner has only enabled me to know how much work it takes, and so I am willing to log on. They're very respectful of family time, and that's very attractive to me. But kind of just ready for a new chapter. Who knows? I do have that entrepreneurial spirit, and now I've learned, so I can look back and learn from my experience, and maybe one day return to it in another capacity of what could I do better or different.
Yeah, that's really cool that you can take your experiences from owning the business and use it towards your job now. What do you think is the favorite part of your job right now?
Right now, again, it's relationships. I believe I've been there for 3.5 years. After I sold the business, I took time to decide what I wanted to do. I went back to my alma mater and used their alumni resources on, what do you do next? I pursued development positions and within colleges at the time for better work-life balance. And finally, I made my way back into administration. I was at another, so after I sold the gym, I actually returned for a year and a half to my real estate company that I worked for before I bought the gym. So they hired me back because I had kept good relationships with them 10 years later, which is kind of funny. And I stayed with them for a year and a half, and I wanted to see my career advance and a little more challenge to the position. So one of the favorite parts is the relationships. It's a small company. I like the relationships within the company, and seeing how they're growing. We get more clients every year. I get more involved in the business as I get to really learn it. It takes time to really learn the history and the ins and outs, the operations of day-to-day working there, or operations. So
Yeah. As you've learned and grown in the business, do you have any advice for someone like me who's interested in going into finance or wealth management?
advice. Well, from what I've learned there and what I've experienced, like we hire interns. We happen to have relationships with Northeastern University up here in Boston. So we do go to their every because they do co-ops. So we get an employee, an intern for 6 months at a time. But they've come from other big business or big offices. They're just getting another experience, like maybe the top 5 financial companies in Boston. They're getting a taste of like a small management. I would say internships are really important. Getting that experience and networking, just meeting people, connect, because you never know. My boss at my old job connected me with someone that I bought a gym from, and then, well, actually the job I have now, I didn't really know anyone there, but I could relate to something. Someone, grew up a town over from where I grew up, and we had like that in common, or really just I would say like connecting with people, practicing. I know that you get that experience with, especially through the fraternity that you've been involved with. You're getting a lot of firsthand experience that is very valuable, that kids are going to come out having graduated, never have interviewed before. So
Yeah, definitely being in Sigma Omega Epsilon has pushed me to grow my connection and networking skills, which I'm seeing as a really important aspect as I'm looking for internships now. It's been a really cool experience to grow within that organization.
And one class that I really did enjoy, and years after I graduated, I pursued Toastmasters, which is speaking. But I took effective speaking in college, and as terrifying as it was, it's if you can present yourself well, and it takes so much practice to speak effectively in front of a group. I wish I stuck with Toastmasters. It's a group that you get together once a week and you just practice speeches. But I know my boss is very successful because he can speak confidently. He's a leader. He has those leadership skills and can speak to a group of people.
Yeah, it's a really important skill to have that I'm currently working on.
Good for you. It's
Yeah.
terrifying. I hate to interrupt you, but kids would get up and cry, and freeze. It's a terrifying experience to go through, but like anything you do, if you keep practicing at it, and that's what I learned through my sports and the athletics. Like I can practice, I can continue to practice and hone my skills, and then you just get better.
Yes. So thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. I guess for the last question is, where do you hope to see yourself in your future, in your career in the future?
In my career, that's another great question. I'm at a place. I'm pregnant for the first time in my life, so I'm going to be starting a family. Thank you. Which the come to like a fork in the road, and part of my brain is like, maybe I'll be home and take time off from my career and raise children. But as I do enjoy my job, and I'm getting more responsibilities, and I do like development. So I like networking and perhaps getting out there and meeting new clients to bring into business, and keeping my job. There is something, who knows what'll happen when I become a mother, but I know that I love having a career, and I'm grateful that I'm fortunate enough that, being a woman in today's world, I admire like all the young, I just want to see young kids succeed and follow their dreams and succeed in business. You can do whatever you want. I just, I'm in administrative position, executive assistant right now, but you hear stories of people who started as a bank clerk and they became president of the bank, or then they started as a checkout cashier person and they ended up becoming CEO of the company. So if I know if you work really hard that way and pursue your dreams, what you're interested in, and keep your relationships solid with people you meet, then I believe those are the keys to success. And show up. Just keep showing up, and be reliable, dependable, someone that people can really count on. So I think I'm open to seeing what the future holds for me with my career. I know that even if I take a break from the corporate world, I can still get involved in personal training and more involved back there part-time in the interim of raising kids. So
Yes, thank you for some of that advice. Even now in the pandemic with so much uncertainty, congrats again on your pregnancy. That'll be an amazing journey. But
thank
thank
you.
you again for being here. And thank you to everyone listening. Bye.
Thanks, Rose. Bye.